The basement, where nerdiness thrives, and grown men rant about toys.
Basement dwellers, it's spooky time. We're back.
We are basement, and we are here to do the basement work.
Yeah, we're the fucking
The addicts rejects.
rejects from the basement.
Yeah.
So we're here now when we're doing The Devil's Rejects, Rob Zombe's second film, and the one that like I was saying, last time, it's such a cool thing to hate on Rob Zombe's movies, but it's always the cool thing to say that The Devil's Rejects is his only good movie, and it just reminds me of the assholes that I hate that are like music fans who will be like, oh, the band's first album is the only good one. And it's like, really now? Shut the fuck up. I know too many people who are like, Marilyn Manson's first album is the only good one. Nirvana's first album is the only good one. And I'm just like, shut the fuck up, people.
Kind of like the book was better type people.
Yeah, right.
Dude, Master of Puppets, not metal. Ride the Lightning, not metal. Kill 'Em All, fucking thrash metal.
Yeah, it's like, come on. But, so we asked you guys what your thoughts were on The Devil's Rejects, and I got a few hits this time. Did you get any on your post?
So, on my post, let's take a look. I got you saying Spoony fucking Dooney.
Spoony fucking Dooney.
So that's the takeaway I got from my end. And I did make a post today while I was watching the movie if anybody wanted to get a quick post in. But I didn't see anything updated onto that page. It got some likes, but I didn't really get much feedback for The Devil's Rejects. It kind of felt like for Corpses, we got a lot of people comparing back and forth between the two and getting their thoughts out early.
Yeah, so I had posted in the Cut to the Chase group, the Dark Discussions group, Speaker Brains, and on my personal page, and we have Lacey Lou from Cut to the Chase.
Lacey!
She says, amazing ending with Freebird playing montage, so weird that you oddly start rooting for the Firefly family. Laughing face.
Agreed.
Yeah, I think it's cool because it's like, you don't necessarily root for them, but you do start to feel bad for them, but then it's like, motherfucker, you, like, just because yo ass is getting tortured now, this is the same shit yo ass had been doing for years to other people. Like, you're getting what you deserve.
Right. I think it comes down to, like, how much time you spend with them that you just kind of get to know them a little bit more, because it definitely is their just desserts. They're getting a major comeuppance.
Yeah, there's a few good humanizing scenes that humanize the shit out of them.
Right, because there are a lot of fans who do straight up root for them, and then there are some people who like the movie but are still like, I think they're still horrible people.
Yeah, I don't know if I necessarily root for them, I just like the characters. That's why I'm glad they brought them back for Three from Hell.
Right, especially an ending like this one.
Yeah, this definitely felt like an ending when it came out. Like, damn, really, you're just gonna end the shit that started your movie career? But
it is an iconic ending because they use basically the entirety of it. So I'm glad that Lacey brought that up, because it is something that I think when you think of The Devil's Rejects, it's one of those kind of Bonnie and Clyde things. You think of the massive shootout ending if you know the movie.
Yeah. Fucking killers on the run, fucking kind of shit. Damn. So Also, Travis Brannon says, "Man, I should give this movie a watch." And then Samuel Wetz says, "My all-time favorite Rob Zombie film. I was just making of the movie." I guess he meant to say thinking. "I was just making of the movie a couple days online, and it led me to rewatch it soon after. I always remembered the ads of it on TV when it was coming out and seeing the DVD cover in the stores. Good memories." And like I said last time, I had no idea this movie came out until I saw a review for it in our local little playground magazine. Like, I had never seen a single trailer for this thing before it was coming out.
Yeah, for me it was Monster Madness. I think it was his third one that got me aware of the Devil's Rejects. I could actually thank James Rolfe for a lot of my early horror film digesting, just because that was such, in the early review days, like such a great way of doing quick reviews.
Yeah.
And getting a lot of information out in a short way before you had to worry about copyright either, so it was really fun. Sometimes I'll still go back and watch the old Monster Madness, where it's just, you turn out the lights and you get a bunch of old movie footage flashing at you.
Yeah.
But that was the first time, I knew Rob Zombie as a musician already, but that was the first time I was aware of him being a filmmaker. This was before I knew all the criticism, so that's probably even why during my anti-Rob Zombie movie phase I still like this one. It was a little bit of what you were saying. I was putting on my beret and striped shirt and being a little bit of a, much like the film critic character in this movie, really. But a little bit of it, too, was that there really is a genuine nostalgia with this movie, because this is when I was seeing those reviews and kind of FYEs were still more available, so I could just go out and get the DVDs easily. I would see ones from the reviews I liked and be like, I want to see that. I think I also caught an edited version of this on TV when I was really young, which is really strange. It must have been like Spike TV or AMC.
Tutti flippin' fruity. Tutti flippin' fruity.
Right? I wish I could remember. Like, they had to have done something. I hope they didn't just, like, take out the sound. Like,
Tutti fruity. Tutti fruity.
Becomes a weird remix.
Yeah. So Travis Brannon comes back and says, and now's the perfect time. Spooky month is the best month.
Indeed. And yes, you should watch this movie if you haven't already.
So then we have...
I would like to think he went and watched the movie in between posts.
Yeah. And then we have a Zachary Howard. He says, "This one definitely helped set the tone for what Rob Zombie could do. I was a bit disappointed he pulled away from the more outlandish tone House of a Thousand Corpses set. I love this one for being so different from the first. This one had a lot of ups ranging from the cast, the story, and I can't forget that soundtrack." Which is true, which is also an odd thing. You know, like we said last time, we're seeing a lot more love nowadays for House of a Thousand Corpses. It took 20 years to get there, but we're seeing a whole lot more people praising that one over this one a lot more, and or praising both the same.
And much like we were talking about last time, a lot of people were commenting about the tightness of this one. The script is a lot tighter. The dialogue is a lot tighter.
Like, because it definitely wouldn't have worked with all that wild supernatural shit.
Right, but there is still room to be outlandish. And as we get later in the movie, there is times where they will still remind you that we are in the world of House of a Thousand Corpses. They incorporate the split screen just a lot less, really mainly during one sequence. And we'll see. You brought up something interesting in the last podcast, that in House of a Thousand Corpses, this is them in their element.
Yeah.
So they're able to be as kooky and weird as they want.
Yeah.
Here, they're on the run, so that also explains why things are a little bit more scaled back tonally, a little bit more gritty. But interesting character thing that I noticed is that they still give in. They're so used to being comfortable in that house and laying low that when they're on the run, each individual character like gives into their vice in some way. Like they
Yeah.
have to fuck around in some way to
Yeah,
get
it
through.
definitely happens during the Banjo and Sullivan bit, where they get to act within their normal weird craziness.
Right.
And definitely one of my favorite Spalding scenes when he commandeers the vehicle for official clown business. Um, so
Yeah,
we'll get
that's
to
exactly
that.
what I was thinking of.
And when this guy mentions you can't forget that soundtrack, I love the fact that he uses a lot of Southern rock in this movie, which is odd because, like I said, I mentioned before that I wasn't the biggest fan of Educated Horses when it came out, but I love the shit out of that album now. But Educated Horses has slight Southern rock vibes to the music on it too, which is definitely got to be because of John Five. Like John Five can kill Southern music, and I bet you John Five's a big reason why you get a lot more Southern shit and Rob Zombie stuff from Educated Horses up to the newest album.
Right,
But
it's always been something that's outlined Rob Zombe's character. Like he's kind of like this weird Americana Frankenstein cowboy. Like there was always a little bit of that southern aspect to it, but yeah, then it became a lot more of a twangy sound. It became a lot more like rooted into the music. One track that's used in the movie right off the bat that I didn't notice until today. They used a song by Blind Willie Johnson.
yeah,
I think it's called "Long Was the Night and Cold Was the Ground."
yeah.
I knew I recognized that sound of the guitar somewhere, but it's not on the soundtrack album. But really interesting tune that he decided to use when you're looking at the pictures of the slaughtered women.
Yeah, that's at the very beginning of the movie.
At the very, very beginning. And that's the thing, it's so quick. Because when you think of the song at the beginning of Devil's Rejects, you're like, oh, Midnight Rider?
Yeah. Allman
But
Brothers?
it really sets the scene, man.
Yeah. And then the final, like I said, we got a few hits this time. The final one is a Jan, forgive me if I mispronounce your name, Jan Dubovan. No clue how to pronounce that. But anyway, he says, Devil's Reject. Saw it 20 years ago, and it was something I have never seen before. Over the years, it became my favorite, and I realized it was before his time. Sort of like a behind the scenes of true crime mass murder group. The movie opens with Bigfoot dragging a dead woman, and then the three from hell in the house are sleeping with dead people. It's a whole new kind of horror movie, which only Zombie can do.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he Dewey it. He
Yeah,
certainly does.
straight up though, he said, I'm sure he meant to say do, but it's
No, I'm not fucking around, but I
D-O-E-Y.
totally agree that I said that last time with House of a Thousand Corpses, that almost like what George Lucas did with Star Wars, where it's like the elements of the movie are very familiar, stuff that we've seen, hillbilly horror, supernatural stuff, but the way in which he puts it together is very unique, and you just get a lot of his personality drips through it. You know what I mean? It's only something that it's exactly what he says. Only something that he could do.
Yeah. And so the movie begins with the blind Willie Johnson.
Yep. And kind of a Texas Chainsaw, like it might as well be John Larroquette doing the narration.
Yeah, so like some narration on, they call them the Devil's Rejects, dead bodies, just a Texas Chainsaw Massacre kind of thing. Just it's almost a recap, but it's not necessarily a recap.
It's kind of like an Evil Dead 2 thing. It's like
The
it happened,
Necronomicon
but it
Ex
didn't
Mortis.
happen. It's kind of like you could just jump into this one.
Yeah. And so already we get a great shot of the house, and apparently I had watched the commentary for this. This is another one that has a zombie by himself commentary and a commentary with Sherry Moon, Sid Haig, and Bill Moseley, and they had mentioned that the pig head on top of that fence was a real pig head, and they were all complaining about how bad it wound up stinking.
Dude.
Yeah, could you imagine?
Horror movies have a lot of funny smell stories.
Yeah, and this is also not the exact same house from House of a Thousand Corpses. Rob Zombie has said that set was torn down, and so they had to make do with this. And I think they do a fairly decent job, but it feels more spread out. It doesn't feel as dirty and condensed. And when you see the house in A Thousand Corpses, it just looks like you can't walk anywhere without getting tetanus.
Right. This is more upgraded, but in that, with the higher budget, it does look a little cleaner, especially on the outside. Like, it does look like the house, but it looked like the house got spruced up a bit.
Yeah, it looks like they did a little spring cleaning. So the movie takes place, 6 months, 7 months after House of a Thousand Corpses?
Yeah, it's not too far after, and they're still just racking up more bodies. This probably, if they were real, the Firefly family, like, would this be in American history at the time, like the biggest body count racked up by somebody here?
Probably so.
Because I was looking up, I was like, later in the movie, they have the reporter. I love the line, but it is a little melodramatic. He's like, "This is the most grisly murders since Jack the Ripper stalked the streets of London."
Yeah. That is a little hokey.
I was like, when did Gacy get arrested? And it's like the exact same year, actually. So
yeah.
In this timeline, I guess Gacy wasn't found yet, because that would have been, I guess, December.
Yeah. But I think their body count is still bigger than Gacy's, because they said it was like 75, upwards of 75 bodies.
Well, it is the House of a Thousand Corpses, so
yeah.
When the cops come rolling in, they're basically walking on a giant graveyard.
Yeah, they're driving over people's graves. So yeah, they drive out there, and you get, and it takes a minute too for anyone to say anything. Like the movie, man, you just get a lot of shots of them sleeping soundly in their dirty, nasty house with dead people.
Another upgrade with the production is that there's less of the flashy imagery from House of a Thousand Corpses, but there's a give and take with that, where there's more grit on the camera, and it definitely doubles down with the exploitation cinematography.
Yeah,
like
the film grain is great on this movie.
The opening is basically like a Western. That's why it takes a minute. It's like the showdown's about to happen.
Yeah, real nice, just lingering shots of shit.
Most movies would do the blowout like in between, or again in the end. You get like a bunch of blowouts for your buck. They're like bookended by blowouts.
Yeah.
So right off the bat, you're captivated because they're literally ripped out of their home.
Yeah, pretty much. Now the police show up, and our new sheriff, John Quincy Wydell. The only reason I know his name is because he says it about 8 times.
Right. And he's next to his buddy who has, it looks like a fake mustache to me. He's got the sideburns and the mustache. He looks great, but he kind of looks like, he reminds me of the cop from South Park.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Are you talking about like the cop they use all the time now?
Yeah.
The one that talks like this.
Pretty much. Yeah, a picture of the old cop and the new cop, basically. You get that guy.
Oh, shit.
The Rob Zombie... because I think it was Zach who said that Rob Zombie's Tarantino of horror.
Yeah, this one definitely.
This movie definitely, because in the dialogue department, not only do I think this is just one of the most quotable movies of all time, but like almost every one of Wydell's lines are quotable. Right off the bat, he walks in, "We're going to do what the Lord calls a cleansing of the wicked."
And what is it? And what my brother George would always say is a nice Alabama ass whooping.
And he always just has like what's his name? William Forsythe, who plays Wydell. He's got the De Niro eyes going the whole time. The squint. It's like a mixture of De Niro and Clint Eastwood the whole movie.
Yeah, it's like he's always staring at the sun.
The 1,000-yard stare.
Oh shit! So yeah, he gets on that loudspeaker. Yeah, this is John Quincy Wydell. Da da da. And here's my question: if he doesn't know that his brother was killed here, how did they get wind? This is where shit was going down.
Yeah, I always assumed that he was somewhat aware that either his brother went missing. Something had to affect, because I mean, House of a Thousand Corpses was pretty crazy.
Yeah, and if you think about it, you know, the cops are going to tell other cops where they're going.
Yeah.
So I'm sure it wasn't that big of a secret. So I'm sure they were just following up and maybe took time, you know, it took about 5 months to build a case so they got something rock solid and get all their warrants and shit.
You know, Walton Goggins hasn't reported back in a couple of weeks, so
Yeah.
we should probably look into that.
He said he was going to that old house over there by Spalding's.
Yeah, hopefully he wasn't shot in the head or anything. That would be terrible.
Damn.
But one thing that I thought about was this opening reminds me a lot of what... it's very easy to make Texas Chainsaw comparisons with these movies, but I feel like these movies, in a weird kind of flip effect, influenced the later Texas Chainsaw movies, because this is very much like the opening of that really bad 3D one. Even down to, they had Bill Moseley in it.
Damn, was he really? I've never saw, I haven't seen any recent Chainsaw movies since the remake from like 2003.
Damn. Yeah, in Texas Chainsaw 3D, I don't even remember when that one came out, like 2011?
Yeah, 11 or 12, maybe 10, somewhere around there.
That one ditched the Platinum Dunes timeline, and it's like, we're going to be a sequel to the original.
Yeah, what everybody has done, and this will actually be, because they did it already with Chainsaw. Again, like, I think thing is, man, Chainsaw and Halloween, all they do is fuck with the timeline. Every time a new movie comes out, oh, forget the other sequels, this is the true sequel.
Right.
Yeah.
There was that Leatherface one that came out on streaming or wherever. I think it was like an on-demand one that it just kind of came and went.
Yeah, the most recent one is basically doing what Halloween 2018 did for the Chainsaw Massacre series, where it's your direct sequel again, but this time we have the surviving lady of the first one. And that shit's just getting old. It's just getting really old.
Even the original actress from Texas Chainsaw isn't even alive anymore, so that's just like, we're going to recast her, but it's her.
Yeah.
But yeah, in Texas Chainsaw 3D, they continue where the first one left off, and it's pretty much just Devil's Rejects. The cops roll up, they shoot up the place, and we see a bunch of the family members die. And Bill Moseley, what should be like a cool return to him to the franchise, he plays Drayton Sawyer. He just gets like shot down in 2 seconds. Instead of thinking of Chop Top, I'm thinking, oh my god, like, is this just Otis? Like, he just cleaned up his beard?
Yeah, he looks weird with a beard. Weird. Beard.
Beard is weird.
Damn, so yeah, everybody starts to wake up and suit up. Everybody throws on their welding helmets.
Yeah, they got like black Iron Man armor.
Yeah.
The cops.
Yeah, and Rufus, played by Tyler Mane this time, and then also we have another cast change. It was Karen Black was the original Mama, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, now it's like Leslie Easterbrook. Looks similar, sounds similar, but you can really tell during the little interrogation scenes later on that
it's more of a reeled back performance until that jail scene freak out. I could still see her being Baby's mom, but the relationship of Karen Black, and Sherry Moon Zombie, I don't know, man. The chemistry was just so much better. But they were also on screen together a lot more in that first movie, where here they're separated throughout the whole thing. They do have that one moment, Sherry Moon Zombie and Leslie Easterbrook.
Yes, I remember when you were a little baby.
Yeah, I love you, Mama, all that stuff, like right before they get taken in.
Yeah. And so, everybody starts shooting the place up, and it's like, all right, we have this amount of characters we need to get rid of now, because the movie, I forgot to even mention, the movie starts off with, like, our buddy on Facebook says Bigfoot dragging a dead woman. It's actually Tiny dragging a naked woman through the woods, and that's when he notices the police showing up, and he's like, yeah, fuck this, I'm just gonna hide in the woods.
Visual, because it is some good music video visuals going on there, but again, not as crazy as House of a Thousand Corpses. And another thing that I like is that Tiny, throughout the whole movie, basically just has like this unseen side plot.
Yeah, he's like, he's out there. He's just out in the woods lurking.
It's something that could almost be expanded on in a comic, but you almost want to leave it up to mystery, because that's where the more supernatural element probably lies.
Yeah, because I'm like, what is he doing out in the woods with this dead body? Is he going to bury it? Is
he bringing it back like, look what I brought?
Yeah, look what I found, guys. Like an animal that leaves a dead chipmunk at your porch.
Tiny, why'd you bring this over? And then he just gives him the shrug.
Yeah. And then starts grossly eating the Abatha Crispies.
Yeah, Mama just go, oh, he was just hungry.
Oh, yeah. So, we got Otis back as Tyler Mane. It's like, we got X amount of characters that we need to hurry up and kill so we can just have these three running around.
He gets shot down really quick, Rufus Jr.
Yeah. Rufus, it's like, damn, he's got the most body armor than everybody, and he's the one that just gets it.
He is getting shotguns, like, straight on, though. So
yeah, he's getting fucked up.
He dies so fast, you almost, like, if you're not paying attention, you wouldn't even notice he got recasted.
Yeah, like...
It's like one line.
It just so does not matter at all. And then they do a lot of... Another thing I like is there's a lot of facial close-ups in this movie. And I think they do that with him, definitely, so you really can't tell. But, I mean, even in the first one, you didn't really get a good look at him all that much anyway.
Right, it's a common complaint, but I just see it more as a funny, like, trope. Like, most of the characters just kind of look like Rob Zombie anyway. Just bearded, long-haired men, so...
Yeah.
You can get them mixed up a little bit. Otis, you at least can tell because he's got the white hair.
Yeah, real stringy-ass damn white hair. And an Avenged Sevenfold tattoo on his chest. That skull bat.
Yeah, he's a time traveler. That's that supernatural element going on. Dr. Satan gave him that tattoo.
Yeah, speaking of which, Dr. Satan has no mention in the movie, nor any of the people in the waiting room, the weird swamp motherfuckers down in the mines, like none of it. But apparently there are deleted scenes. There's a Dr. Satan deleted scene where he's in a hospital bed, and Wydell and his buddy are sitting there talking, and they're like, yeah, he's just been this way, he can't talk, he's just been laying in this bed the whole time. And Rosario Dawson is playing a nurse, and fucking they do not spotting, but Wydell's buddy goes in there and starts talking to her. He's like, yeah, Speedwagon's playing at da-da-da tonight, you want to go? And then Dr. Satan like springs to life and grabs Dawson's neck and just rips her fucking throat out, and like everybody's running in there and they sedate Dr. Satan, and she just lays on the floor and he's sitting there holding her, man. Her whole fucking outfit is red now. It's a pretty cool ass scene.
Yeah, I can see why it got cut though, because it is like, aside from the Wydell thing, like it really doesn't.
Yeah, all it does is bring up more questions.
Exactly, and the fact that he's not in the movie kind of gives credence more to my mom's theory that it's like it was all a ruse. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was all a setup. But what would have been funny if all this supernatural stuff is real, when they're running away during the opening credit sequence, there's the quick part where they're actually running through the swamp. Would have been funny seeing those motherfuckers just running away and screeching as well.
Yeah. And so we get they start running out. Baby and Otis start running out, and you see other motherfuckers who are just waiting to be killed, trapped in cages.
Best opening credit sequences in any movie, I would say. Like, just they picked the perfect song. Just like it's a simple editing effect, but so old school that there's the freeze frame with the slight zoom in. They use the entirety of the song. What we were talking about with Freebird, they also use the entirety of Midnight Rider.
Yeah, fucking Allman Brothers. It is a cool ass opening scene where they're just out there, and then the song is all about being on the run and shit too. And I mean, it's just I love some Allman Brothers. I always thought they have a cool guitar sound and shit. So I'm down with some Midnight Rider jamming.
It's such a common trope nowadays, like. And even back then as well, but especially more so now. Where
I'm just glad that because another On the Run song they could have used was Styx. Fucking that jig is up, da, 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 they finally found me. That would have. Imagine recutting that intro to that. Like, recut this credit sequence to other On the Run songs.
Oh my god, just re-edit it to On the Run by Pink Floyd.
And run like hell.
But like speed up their running so it's like slightly faster. But this opening is like basically a mini movie in and of itself because it shows how they get away, how they get their car.
Yeah.
And the bloopers for this part are fucking hilarious, but also I can get the frustration on the cast and crew. They had this big blood squib set up for the nurse character that they're stabbing. But the blood was shooting out like cartoonishly, like it looked really funny, and the knife wasn't going in. So if you want to find funny bloopers of Bill Moseley just kind of awkwardly screaming and stabbing while they're waiting for the blood to start working, great clip.
Yeah, on the commentary, Rob Zombie had mentioned that they use a lot of CG blood effects in this movie because squibs are, for the most part, unreliable when you're working on a tight budget because they let's say they don't work and you got to get some more squibs, and you got to use too many takes to them, get the correct squib explosion and all that shit. But so far,
it was for such a small bit of the movie that they did a good couple of takes with that, and that was like, we're done with this. We can't keep trying.
Yeah, and thankfully the CG blood isn't all that bad and distracting like we'd eventually see in movies after this. I think the only weird part is when that one lady's got the knife in her chest at the hotel and she's like trying to pull it out. Like the skin is kind of moving weird. I don't know, like a weird. You can tell that's got to be a CG effect. It just does not look real.
Yeah, it's a little awkward, but not, like you said, as noticeable as it gets later on.
Yeah.
I'd say the most noticeable one is, of course, when the girl gets hit by the truck. But, like, how else were you going to do that?
Yeah, so...
Because it's such a dead-on, it's like a Kevin Smith angle. It's a medium shot of a girl getting hit by a truck.
Yeah. So Mama Firefly, after Rufus gets killed, she runs over there to him and hugging her dead baby boy, and Wydell's all talking shit, and she grabs that gun, and she's about to fucking blow her brains out, and pulls the trigger, and yeah, there's no more bullets left, so they grab her ass, handcuff her, and they arrest her, and we get, more news broadcasts, and the one with the, this is the worst crime since Jack the Ripper, and like,
you might as well have done that. Ooh. Anyway, here's the weather.
Yeah.
On to sports. But they go through the house, and this is where the police we found out at the end of House of a Thousand Corpses that Spaulding was working with the family.
Yeah.
We didn't even know he was related, and even still, it could be argued that Otis just got into the back of his car. But here, the police find the pictures of him next to the corpses. They're like, it's fucking that clown, Captain Spaulding.
Yeah.
They're on to him now. He's been found out.
Yeah, and so he goes by the name Spaulding. And so now we cut to Captain Spaulding's great introduction.
That's what I was about to say. Amazing character introduction.
Yeah, they having sex, some lady down fucking him, and it goes on a good bit. And
it almost becomes like a Scorsese scene, like something out of Goodfellas.
Yeah, it's just straight up, yeah, come on, yeah, take it, yeah, you do that, yeah. And I'm just like, how are you staying hard, dude?
They should have added little clown nose sound effects. Fucking something like that. But we quickly find out that it's a dream.
Yeah, he says, yeah, you're going to get a good riding later tonight. And you're going to have to start paying me. And she's like, what, are you calling me a whore? She pulls a gun out on him, and he's like, what? I calls him like I sees him. Oh, shit.
Laugh, clown boy? Fucking laugh.
Laugh, motherfucker. And boom, trigger pulls, and he wakes up with a nightmare, and now he's laying with a different lady. Damn,
and it's a weird, it's a character detail that I noticed. In the last movie, he makes the quick line to the cops that he's like, I like my ladies with a little more meat on their bones, a little more cushion.
Yeah, he likes the big ladies.
Yeah, so he's dreaming about a completely different woman, but when he wakes up, it is a bigger woman. So I was like, I like that they kept that little character detail.
Yeah, so that's also probably his ultimate nightmare is like the skinny lady killing him.
Right.
Like he likes the bigger ladies, and
dude's got shit stain on his underwear.
Yeah,
that's a gross detail.
Yeah. Oh man, and the shit that he says, man, she's like, come on. He's like, didn't you get enough of it last night? Damn, my damn dick is still sore. And then I love this. He's like, let me go in there and take a piss. The transition from when he walks in the bathroom to the coffee pouring into the coffee cup. I love transitions like that. I think another favorite transition that does something like that is on Me, Myself, and Irene, when Jim Carrey walks on the people's yard, pulls his pants down, and goes to take a shit, and it cuts to motherfucker getting some of that soft serve ice cream.
It's exactly like that cut. I made a note about that as well. Another thing that she keeps calling him Poopy. So with that and the shit stain, I'm like, oh Jesus, I really hope there's no correlation there. Because it's never explained. He's just kind of like, stop calling me Poopy.
So yeah, it cuts to, who's getting the coffee? The cops?
So Spaulding is making the coffee. I like that before anything. This is his morning routine. He puts on the makeup first. Like, he's still sitting around in his pajamas.
Hell, wasn't he sleeping with the makeup? Didn't he have the makeup on in bed?
Yeah, he just doesn't take it off. He thickens it a little bit more. Like, he touched it up. But he's just clown time all the time.
Yeah, so yeah, you're right. I was thinking it goes to the cops. But yeah, it goes to him, and he turns the TV on so you can see his new commercial.
Which, I don't know, I kind of like the House of a Thousand Corpses commercial a little bit more with the chicken, but the monkey is really funny.
Yeah, I like this about as much as the
Captain Spaulding for President t-shirt.
Yeah. Yeah, and let little old Jimmy and Susie come, and they'll scare the death out of them.
And I love the look that the lady hugs him, and she's like, oh, you look so sexy, and he just gives her a look like, what the fuck?
Yeah,
like,
leave me alone, bitch.
He's like, stop talking during my commercial.
Yeah. Then a news flash comes on. He's like, what the shit is this? I paid good money for this damn commercial. Then the phone rings, and it's Baby. This is the first bit where she calls him Daddy. So this is where, okay, so he is Baby's daddy.
they're like, you got to get going. They found us out. Cops hit us up big time. He's like, hold on, slow down. Just calm down, baby. And I like how this is the first bit of humanity we start to see from these horrible characters. We really get it more so later in the second act of the movie, but they treat everybody else around them like absolute shit. And they bicker with each other for sure, but like, there's automatically just like a different chemistry. Kind of like what Mama maybe had in the first one.
Damn, she says, yeah, meet us at da-da-da hotel like we planned. So they've always had this escape plan planned out for years.
In case of police raid, break glass.
Yeah.
Leave the people in the cages. Don't worry about them.
So they're hanging out at the hotel, and Spaulding's like just getting his shit together. And she's like, where are you going? Where are you going? I gotta go, bitch.
He straight up puts his hand in her face, just like, leave me alone.
Yeah, goddamn, just pushes her away from the damn truck and drives on out of there. And damn, she's just standing there like, fuck, what do I do now?
Right, and I wonder now, so she goes in and she's looking at the news reports, like, is she horrified? Does she know what Spaulding's been up to? Like, what's going on? How long have they known each other?
Yeah, like, she obviously can't really probably know about any of this stuff. And,
right, so she's like, holy shit, I just banged that guy.
Like, wouldn't it be awesome if, like, they've had a real long-term relationship? And because Rob Zombie did some cool stuff with the special features for this one, too. That talk show that they play on the TV during the motel scene. He's actually got, like, full episodes filmed for that talk show on here.
That's sick.
Yeah.
I never knew that.
Yeah, like, he was fucking awesome with special features, man. They, especially, like I mentioned on the DVD menus for Corpses, where, you know, you just got Captain Spaulding talking shit to you the whole time, and then you got all these other great hidden bits with Baby and Otis and this joke that, it's one of them jokes that just keeps on going, and it's not funny, then it gets funny again, where it's like, knock knock, who's there? Tiny. Tiny who? Tiny fucked a stump. Ha! I got one. Knock knock. Who's there? Tiny. Tiny who? Tiny fucked the stump. Ha! And it just goes on.
And it's really funny too that the guy in those talk show segments is Daniel Roebuck, who way later on, now we're talking about recently, he was in Monsters movies.
Yeah, he winds up being a go-to guy for Rob Zombie movies. I think starting with, if I'm correct me if I'm wrong, starting with Lords of Salem, because he's the he's one of the fucking cavemen from Geico.
Oh, really? He's the Geico caveman. Well, wait, no, that was Herman who played the Geico caveman.
Yeah, never mind. I'm getting two guys mixed up. We're talking about Grandpa.
Right.
Yeah, my bad. Yeah, the guy.
Yeah, you're good. I was like, hold on a second, wait, because I did hear the Geico caveman story, which is really funny how those two come together.
Yeah, my bad, people. I'm sorry.
We're to that one.
So yeah, we get, they're hanging out at the hotel. Spaulding starts getting on the run. And so now we have, is this where Banjo and Sullivan show up?
Yeah, so they have the car and they stop at the motel. And that's when the radio starts talking about the murders, and Otis is losing his shit. You could almost start a counter for fucks in this movie. How many fucks go off? 'Cause it's basically every sentence. But this is where Baby has to use her cunning, her skills, to get them into the motel room. But before that, we're introduced to fucking... not just Banjo and Sullivan, but we have a quick cutaway to Charlie Altamont.
Alright, we're back. Sorry. I had to get some coffee starting.
So before we cut to Banjo and Sullivan, we're actually introduced to Charlie Altamont first. We cut to his club, and he's probably my favorite character next to Sheriff Wydell. Like, I was going to mention that Wydell is probably my favorite performance in the movie, but dude, you gotta love Ken Foree. This is going back to what I was saying about House of a Thousand Corpses. Much with everybody in this movie, like even the side characters, like Rob Zombe's very specific with the actors that he wants to work with. Like Michael Berryman is working with Charlie. He's his buddy sweeping the floors.
Yeah.
He was in The Hills Have Eyes.
That weird looking guy.
Nest, tons of stuff. And fucking E.G. Daily.
Yes.
Which is crazy that she's in a role like this, because I grew up with her as, Buttercup from Powerpuff Girls.
Tommy fucking Pickles.
Yeah, Tommy, that is how Rob Zombie would write it. Tommy fucking Pickles.
Yeah, fucking, because the first time I saw her in a zombie movie, she shows up in 31. And I was surprised then. And actually, I had seen this movie a few times and never knew that was her in this. But when she popped up, I was like, what the fuck? And then we went to go smoke, and I looked it up, and damn sure right. I was like, holy fuck, goddamn E.G. Daly's in this motherfucker. And what's even funnier is she's talking about, because he's like, damn, she only got like $180. You need to start, damn, upping your shit. And she's like, well, what if I started doing that weird Star Wars shit? Everybody wants to fuck Princess Leia. And old Barry's like, yeah, I'd fuck her. And, but later on when you see her, she's got the Princess Leia hairdo.
Yeah, she's got her hair up in buns. And one of my favorite lines, he's like, I don't want any weird robots tripping over shit. And Michael Berryman's like, droids, boss. They call them droids. Whatever. It's too risky.
Yeah.
You know what else? E.G. Daily was also Dottie in Pee-wee's Big Adventure. I was doing research today, and I was like, holy shit, how come I never realized that?
Yeah, and I just found out today that she has 3 albums. Apparently she is a singer.
Yeah.
Did not know any of that.
I remember back when Vine was a thing, like I had seen one of her doing like karaoke to Megadeth and something like that, and I was like, oh shit.
Wow, hell yeah. I remember when Vine was like the biggest shit.
Oh my god, I was obsessed with it for like a week. Maybe a good week.
Yeah, then TikTok came and stole it all.
Right. And I still haven't. I made a TikTok account for a day, and I shared one TikTok. It wasn't even mine, and it got taken down. My account got terminated. For what? I don't know. But I was like, all right, I guess that's the end of TikTok. Like, I never tried to make another account. I didn't care enough.
Yeah, I made an account, just because of our shit that we do online, and I think 2 years or a year after I made the account, I finally made a few videos, put them on there, and I haven't looked at it since.
Yeah, so don't expect any fresh from the basement TikToks anytime soon. We're staying right here on YouTube and on the Facebook group.
Yeah, so that's about it. Like, it's almost like a nothing scene.
Yeah, it's just introducing that Charlie is going to be an assist character, basically, because Spaulding calls him up and he's like, I'm coming to you.
Yeah.
He pretends to be a Chinese restaurant for a second, which I think is a funny detail.
Yeah. Oh,
he's like,
shit.
Charlie. Oh, no, and he also mentions that he goes by the name Cutter. He goes, Charlie, it's Cutter.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I'm not sure if that's his real name, or if that's just another alias that he went by, like maybe on a different job. Because Charlie Altamont's not his real name either. That's his pimp name.
Yeah, he's got his name is like Wolf J or some shit.
Mm-hmm. So they are men of many names, which again goes back into what I was saying at the beginning. There's so much mixture of a lot of exploitation subgenres. Like, that's kind of like a Western thing. These criminals that go by many names, they've had a past together. They've gone on different jobs. Like, there's almost kind of a gangster quality to it as well, because I like when it carries over into Baby as well, like in their body language. They're horror characters at the core. They're these Texas Chainsaw inspired characters, but again, there's that mix. She asked the dude for a lighter, and then after they kidnap her, after they kidnap him, she whips out the lighter and just starts smoking like she always had it. That's a very gangster movie move.
Yeah. So after that, what happens after the Charlie Altamont scene?
That's when we get to the motel and the radio is talking about the murders, and Otis and Baby are arguing with each other, which we get more of that stepbrother and sister banter. Fuck you!
Yeah, fuck you! Fuck you! Just a lot of fuck yous in the whole movie.
Right. That's that fuck yous from hell. Going back into like how many people are in this movie, with the Banjo and Sullivan scene, Mrs. Sullivan is Priscilla Barnes, who I always think of Mallrats.
Say that again?
Priscilla Barnes is Mrs. Sullivan in the Banjo and Sullivan band when they're at the motel.
Yeah.
So I always think of Mallrats because she was the girl with the 3 nipples.
Oh, I'll be damned.
Third nipple. So then she ends up getting stabbed in her 3rd nipple, so go figure.
So yeah, Brian Posehn is here as their roadie.
Yeah, I fucking love it. You've been smoking dope. Yeah, I mean, no.
Yeah, not now.
You know, you never support me in what I want to do. I don't know why it makes me laugh so much. He's talking to a character played by a comedian and telling him he's not clown material.
Yeah. He wants to be a rodeo clown. And it's almost like you kind of wonder, how popular are Banjo and Sullivan?
Yeah, right? Are they an original? Are they a cover band? Like, his big claim to fame is that he shook Johnny Cash's hand.
So they would have to be an original band because Rob Zombie got together with I forget the dude's name, but he's in a rockabilly band, and he's the same guy that did the Captain Clegg for the Halloween 2.
It is the same voice. It did sound very similar. You recommended it during our Bill and Ted episode, I think, at the end. I'm not sure if it made it into the final recording, but just for the record, I do love Captain Clegg.
Jesse Dayton.
But then, yeah, they have the I'm at home getting hammered while she's home getting nailed, and you told me that there's a whole Banjo and Sullivan album, as if it was like, it's almost like a Spinal Tap.
Yeah.
As if it really came out in 1978.
Yeah, it's an album. It's a Banjo and Sullivan album that they dropped. That is fantastic. It's got 10 songs, all are original except for at the end they got a Freebird, which is a really good cover. It kind of grasses it up a bit, definitely during the jam out moment at the end of the song. Like, I think that's my favorite version of the jam out moment because the violins are killing it, the mandolins are killing it. It's pretty fucking good. But yeah, it's got
Banjo and Sullivan.
It's got a lot of good songs like Dick Soup. That is actually in the Super Beasto movie.
I was wondering what that song was because again, that is the same voice, so that clears that up. It is a
that Dick
Banjo.
Soup, cock salad.
It's like you even say at the end, like, now for a song by Banjo and Sullivan.
Yeah, and then you got another one that I love. That if you know the movie, you gotta love a song called "Lord Don't Let Me Die in a Cheap Motel."
The irony.
Yeah.
And I love how, again, I mentioned this in the previous episode. It's related to the darkest scene in the movie, but you have this comedy song to accompany it. It is the most fucked up scene in the movie.
Yeah, it is probably one of the more uncomfortable moments in any Rob Zombie movie.
Because Rob Zombie is always over the top. Even when things get super fucked up, there is kind of like you could tell he's having fun making it. There's a fictitious quality to it. With this movie, and I think the reason why it gets like the thumbs up from Roger Ebert and stuff like that, is it has these moments where it pulls back and it is just grim reality for a moment, but only, again, in a way that Rob Zombie could present it in. It's a very ballsy moment
Yeah.
To the point where even the cast was feeling uncomfortable while doing it. Like Bill Moseley was like, I don't really want to do this.
Yeah, even during the commentary with Sherry Moon and Bill Moseley, like they're talking about that scene, about how intense that day of shooting was and shit, and how crazy they had to get and all that, and but yeah, so this whole bit starts. You know, we got some. You know, you could just call it nothing dialogue, but it just makes the characters seem real. Just sitting around talking shit. Brian Posehn wants to be a rodeo clown, and so then Baby.
You know, I could have been on that pit crew down in South Carolina. It's like there's a whole story going on with them that you'll never know.
Yeah.
Because their lives are going to be cut short.
Yeah, and so Baby bumps into Roy Sullivan and just starts flirting with him, asking for the lighter, and he says that, yeah, my doctor said I got the lungs of a da-da-da athlete, and but then she says shit like, what the fuck does she, I bet all the girls just want to fuck you. And he's like, say that again? So I bet all the girls just want to fuck
best.
you.
Don't tell me that.
Yeah, and then what does he say? Do you kiss your mama with that mouth? She says, I do a lot of stuff with this mouth.
He's like, oh, damn.
Yeah, this is when you first get, you know, Baby being House of a Thousand Corpses, Baby. Just
right.
The weird, fucking, playful, fucking, almost Harley Quinn from Batman.
Very much so. And then especially even later when she's with the girls and they're all alone. It's another moment where they get to chill for a moment, so she really lets out her manipulative, nasty side.
Yeah.
It bounces back and forth from, like you said, the Harley Quinn, tee-hee playfulness. I'm going to lure you in with my cutesiness, and then I'm going to just become a really nasty, raging, controlling person.
Yeah.
And it's really good. Like, her performance in this is awesome.
Yeah, so give me 2 more seconds. I'm going to start this coffee. Okay, sorry everybody. I should have had all this set up before we started, but I didn't know that I wanted coffee until we started talking about Captain Spaulding pouring the coffee.
Right. It's like a subliminal image. I could really go for some black coffee.
So yeah, so he's like, well, my wife's in that room, and she's like, well, that's my brother right there. And fucking boom, got the gun in his face. Yeah, let's go to the hotel room.
And I love how the guy, beforehand, one of the members of Banjo and Sullivan, they're watching the TV and he's like, oh, you know, they're talking about the murders, and it's like, it's just a bunch of bullshit meant to stir up fear, keep people at home buying TV dinners.
Yeah, talking about, on the talk show, they're talking about satanic cults and shit, and we're like, in the timeline of the movie, based on the timeline of our world, satanic cult horror movies were like really popular at this time, and we were just a few years away from the big satanic panic and televangelism milking the shit out of it.
Yeah, and Rob Zombie always likes to have like little fun things playing on the TVs in the background, so that's kind of, I like to call it the old shit channel. Every character is playing the old shit channel.
Which is cool. What I like about when Rob Zombie does it is he makes original shit. It ain't like other horror movies where they might just have another horror movie playing in the background, you know? Like in Halloween with The Thing from Another World. You know, I like that Rob Zombie makes shit within his shit. Like, number one, you got the album for the Banjo and Sullivan. Number two, you got this fake talk show, all the news characters and everything. Even the one little news brief in here when we don't need to see none of this. We don't need to know who you are, but yeah, I'm so-and-so, bringing the world to you. Like, I just like that Rob Zombie really makes his worlds breathe and feel bigger.
Yeah, and even though like this is tighter than House of a Thousand Corpses, like you said, it's still very much an experiment.
Yeah, just like on House of a Thousand Corpses with Dr. Wolfenstein's creature feature.
Right, he's building more than just like the immediate plot in front of us, like the world they're walking in.
Which is a
Tarantino of horror. Like it's just this very unique, interconnected world of its own.
Yeah, which is a big thing I love about his Monsters movie when we eventually get to that.
It's something I love about El Super Beasto that, number one, we mentioned Brian Posehn. He carries over. He plays Murray the Robot, who's my favorite character in that. But easily argue that it's just an exaggerated extension of this world that we already live in. Number one, the three from Hell show up in it. At least Otis and Captain Spaulding. Sherry Moon already voices another character.
Yeah, they show up in like a little bit at some bar, right?
Yeah, but see, they're there.
Yeah,
so they're walking around.
But I figure in El Super Beasto, like, aren't they all just hanging out in hell?
It's the haunted world of El Super Beasto, so who knows where it actually is? It's
that is
kind of
true.
Specified.
It's some haunted world. It's some nether realm.
Right. So I think this is just Rob Zombie's imagination. All this place is just Rob Zombie's head, and this is where they all walk around.
Yeah.
And my favorite cutaway gag is, like, even the Halloween movies, even though they're remakes, they're just in this Rob Zombie verse. He gives Rob Zombie a voice again in El Super Beasto, where he's driving his car, and then he hits the Rob Zombie Michael with the fucked up mask. He's like, "What the hell? Oh, I get my hands on you. I'm gonna rip your neck."
Yeah, so
The Mad Hatter voice.
So probably the most intense scene of the movie starts. They just throw him in there and they're like, yeah, shut the fuck up, yeah. It's everybody's yelling, everybody's fucking tripping out. The one lady's in the shower and get them all down there. And Otis is like, who the fuck's in the shower? Get him out of there. So they throw her naked ass out of the shower.
Brian Posehn's at the door. They're like, who the fuck is that? And he's like, is Roy in here?
Yeah, I must have the wrong room. I'm looking for room number 2.
He just gets his head blown off.
Yeah, as soon as he walks in, blah! Fucking headshot. Blood all over everybody, and then old buddy pukes all over his wife.
So, is puke like part of your guys' deal? Is that what you guys do?
Yeah. So, go ahead.
Again, you were talking about how it's easy to criticize Rob Zombie as a director, but you got to give him massive praise, actually. Like, to pull off a scene like this, you have to be probably very delicate. Like you said, the actors were talking about how intense and uncomfortable it was on the set, but I can imagine they pulled through because Rob was being super chill about it. He knew what he was doing, probably being, like, crazy respectful. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because they didn't go. Didn't go all the way. You know, there isn't any hardcore rape or anything. The worst we get is, you know, he shoves the gun down her pants, and then you get a little bit of simulated blowjob.
Right, it's definitely not tasteful, but it's not as gratuitous as it's easy for critics to be like, oh, it's a Rob Zombie, it's just blood, guts, gore.
Yeah, it doesn't go I Spit on Your Grave or Last House on the Left far.
Right, you could tell that that's the wheelhouse he's been inspired by, but he creates just these crazy fucking, like, this is a nightmare. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just fucking eerie and crazy, and in between this, fucking Spaulding is punching a girl.
Yeah, this whole scene is hilarious. He runs up to the lady and he's like, "Here, I'm gonna have to take your vehicle for official clown business." And she's like, "What's this about clown business?"
Did I stutter, bitch? It just goes.
Get in the car and lock the door.
And real quick.
And he punches her ass out and he hops in the car. I fucking love this. The little kid's sitting there crying, and he's like, "What's the matter, kid? Don't you like clowns? Don't we make you laugh? Aren't we fucking funny?"
You best come up with a reason why you hate clowns, or I'm gonna come back and get you and your mama and kill your whole fucking family.
Yeah.
Now get your little ass out of the car. And I like how he's going, yeah.
Yeah.
He's doing like his chatter from House of a Thousand Corpses. He's
just having so much fun with this part. Get out of the fucking car, yeah! And then with the woo, yeah, fucking.
So that's the moment that I was talking about before, where all the three characters give in to their vices in some way. That's where Spaulding just kind of kicks back. He's like, I got to get this card, but he decides to have a little fun for that moment.
Yeah.
And he likes it. He has he sighs a breath of relief, like he needed to get that out. He's been under so much pressure.
Yeah, that was a great fucking bit. Love the shit out of that.
Yeah, so that was PJ Souls' cameo. So she's from the original Halloween, and she was also in Rock and Roll High School. So again, just a quick flyby scene. But again, Rob Zombe's like, I know exactly the face that I want in this moment.
Hell yeah. So what happens next?
We cut back to the hotel room, and this is where we have the scene with the gun and Priscilla Barnes, where he's pretty much just fondling her in front of fucking... I'm just going to call him Banjo. Banjo from Banjo and Sullivan. And
yeah, Banjo is the younger guy. Sullivan's the older guy.
It's in front of the older dude. He actually stands up for a moment when he really starts feeling her up, like he's about to fight back. And then
yeah, he's like, what are you gonna do? What the fuck are you gonna do?
The next thing you say better be some brilliant fucking Mark Twain shit, because it's definitely being chiseled on your tombstone.
Yeah, I fucking love that line.
I'm telling you, man, like, the quotes are on fire in this movie. Rob Zombie took the chains off when it comes to that stuff. There's even more later on, especially with Charlie Altamont.
Yeah.
But go back to to this scene. It makes me fucking shiver when he really starts feeling her up, and the old guy can't even look. Like, he has to put his hat over his head.
Yeah.
Because he's so powerless in that moment.
Yeah. Yeah, that's some good shit.
He's like, me and the boys are going to go out for a little bit, and you ladies are going to stay behind.
Yeah, so they go on out, and so what happens in between this? Because there's other stuff happening that... Does it go to the cops after this?
Yeah, hold on one second. Referring to my notes here. Yeah, I think it cuts to when Wydell is interrogating Mama Firefly for the first time.
Yeah. And he's showing her pictures of all the people that have been murdered.
Yeah, he has the stack of books that they took from the house. And this is where it becomes official that, hey, in this book, there's something I forgot to tell you. And she pulls out the pictures of Officer Wydell from the first movie, who she shot in the neck. So she's got the pictures of his dead body, and she's like, come to think of it, his name was also Wydell. Was he kin to you?
Yeah.
And he fucking starts smacking her up. I like these interrogation scenes because they're kind of like something out of The Dark Knight before The Dark Knight was even made. You know, it's going back into that crime exploitation kind of stuff. And he's playing around with her backstory. He's all cold with her, talking about how many men that she's been with. And she's like, oh, come on, everybody loves me. And even he has a moment where he's like, oh, wow, yes, ma'am. I find you quite irresistible. So there's kind of like this tension between the two. There might have even been a backstory between her and Sheriff Wydell. Who knows? Because, again, she was a prostitute before she turned to killing people. So she might have been arrested like several times beforehand. You know what I mean? Actually knows these people.
Yeah. Oh. So yeah, he's
the other are just kind of hanging back. They're just kind of there to pull Wydell off when he goes too far.
Yeah.
And in this first act of the movie, he words it like this later on, but right now, Sheriff Wydell is trying to walk the line. Like, you could tell that he's very caged up. He's angry, but he's still trying to do it by the book. He's a dick, but he's not completely crazy yet.
Yeah, he hasn't gone full villain yet.
Yeah, by the second act is where he starts to become rattled and unwind, and then by the third act is when he's completely revenge-driven. But this is the first time, like, he gets the first blow to his psyche, where he's literally looking at the pictures of his dead brother.
Yeah. And you know what's weird? Roy Sullivan also looks a lot like...
That's his name, Roy.
Yeah, he looks a whole lot like the dad of the one girl in Corpses.
He does. I was almost wondering if it was the same actor for a second, and it's not. So I was like, hold on a second, didn't he die? But then also I'm like, I wouldn't be surprised if Rob Zombie just really wanted to use the same actor again.
Yeah.
But it's not. They just look very similar. They get a similar fate, too, because doesn't he peel off his face?
No, he peels off Banjo's face.
Booga, 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 booga.
So, we get the scene where they're out in this field going to go pick up the guns that Otis and Baby had buried a few years back, and he's just taunting the shit out of them and walking them over there, and even says, you know what, I think I still got some of your wife's pussy stink on my gun, and I hope the barrel doesn't rust.
So this is the moment in the first act where Otis gives into his vice, because they have a moment where they're alone. So like you said, he's kind of pushing their buttons a little bit. But then even later on, when they're like, you said you would free us, and he's like, well, I technically didn't say anything. And second thing is, like, he gets up in their face and he starts screaming. He gets it on his maniacal ranting that you kind of saw when he was comfortable in the first movie, where he's like, I'm Willy fucking Wonka, this is my fucking chocolate factory. He almost loses control for a second.
Yeah,
and
he's like, I'm calling the fucking shots.
Yeah, and that leaves him open for attack. So this is like the first act is them learning like not to just fucking like flip out like this. Because shit's still hitting the fan.
Yeah.
They're still on the run. This is them getting used to being open prey now at this point.
Yeah,
This
they
is
have to
before the
think on their feet. The safety of their house is gone, and even too, like with them being in the hotel, you know, that safety is coming back. So they think they have full control at the hotel, even though they technically don't.
Yeah, the control is fleeting. And I always wonder, it's like, I know that it's a random motel in the middle of the 70s, but I'm like, yeah, they do actually get a lot more time there than you would expect.
Yeah.
Like, no cops show up, no security, nothing. Like, the housekeeping has to come by to discover the carnage.
Yeah, so
But during the scene, they're going to pick up some guns that were buried, and Bill Moseley's performance during this part, that whole monologue where he's like, it's almost kind of something out of the old Coffin Joe movies. Strike me down. I want you to pray to your God, and I want to be struck down by lightning right here. I definitely get why there was a fan petition to have Bill Moseley get an Oscar nomination. Like, I know it sounds silly when you hear it, and it's something that probably would have never happened, but when you see how much effort and, just how much he puts into this performance, I definitely get why fans were so passionate at the time and want to see him get rewarded for it. You know, I am the devil, and I'm here to do the devil's business. Which is ripped straight from the Manson family.
Yeah, which is like, it annoys me, because it's like, you want him to say something original, but instead he just quotes the Manson family.
He's just fucking with them.
But yeah, they beat his ass pretty good. They fucking get him pretty good, man. Knocks his ass down with that wood. Damn, he's like...
high ground for a moment.
Now you want to get all fucking wood and walking tall on my ass.
You want to see badass? I'll show you badass.
But yeah, so...
Shoots him in the neck.
Yeah, struggling around, man. He hits Roy Sullivan in the nuts with that big ass piece of wood. Oh man, that hurts to fucking watch.
No more little Sullivans running around.
That's another thing that we should like re-edit. You remember in the 90s, in every like family movie, the villain would get hit in the nuts, and then he would have that high voice.
Yeah.
They should
like Tom and Jerry.
We should like hit it, re-edit it to where when he gets hit in the nuts, pitch the voice up a lot.
Just throwing a Doug Walker scream.
But But yeah, he motherfucking goddamn shoots old buddy in the neck, and dude's just laying there, and fucking yeah, he just starts
Pray
pounding.
for little bunnies. Pray for the rabbits.
Yeah, he's like, oh, I feel it. Oh, I feel it.
That's what they all say to me. Fuck you. Yeah, the whole scene is great. And it's in the middle of broad daylight, so again, it's going against, like, the conventions of, a lot of horror movies, it's dingy lighting, especially in the 2000s. This is now Lionsgate post-Saw.
Yeah.
Saw 2 came out the very same year.
Yeah,
so
this is
I feel like
Lionsgate.
that's another reason. I feel like that's another reason why Rob Zombie got lumped into that criticism, because I think it was just the timing of which the trends of horror were coming out. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because at this point we've had two. I think we've had 2 Saw movies at this point, and so at this point Lionsgate isn't afraid to do shit.
Right. And I don't even really like the phrase torture porn that much. Like with Hostel, I kind of get it, because I don't really like the characters in Hostel that much. They're, especially in the first one, they're not even really meant to be likable. But Saw, I think, has as convoluted as it is, I think it's a good enough story where it's more than just the torture, you know what I mean? But again, I can't argue with, like, public reception and just how people view stuff based on posters, trailers, what's coming out. And when you see the poster for Hostel, Saw, and The Devil's Rejects next to each other, like, I could see how people would lump them into, like, oh, that's another one of those, like, gore porn movies. When it's really not, you know what I mean?
That was also at a point, too, where after somebody coined the term torture porn, that's when they started slapping porn at the end of any kind of thing they wanted to call a genre.
Yeah, anything that's exploitative, which again, it's like we already had a name for it. It's called exploitation.
Yeah, and when I think I was tired of the porn term when that TV series came out around 2013-ish. I think it was called Revolution or Revelation. Basically, it was like where all the power in the world went out, and it was supposed to be them trying to figure out what happened, and it had all these Lost style flashbacks. They kept saying that it was going to be ruin porn, where everything, the vines, the earth has taken control of its environment. Vines, and they called The Last of Us, that video game, ruin porn. Anything that was like post-apocalyptic, seeing cities in ruin.
Hey, what's wrong with porn, dude? No.
But yeah, almost like how everybody wants to throw gate at the end of any scandal.
Right. It just kind of makes it sound crazier than it really is.
Deflate gate, like, motherfucker, it's a football. Shut the fuck up.
Motherfuckers just trying to stir up fear and keep us at home buying TV dinners, man.
Yeah, so we cut back to the hotel, and this is where Baby's doing her baby shit again. This is like probably where she's more in the annoying baby bit, where it's Chinese, Japanese, dirty knees, look at these. And she just keeps it going, man. And you can just see it fucking, just psychologically fucking these people up.
She's having them, like, kiss each other, slap each other. She's got to use the bathroom, but she's like, first you got to say, like, thanks, baby, I'm having a good time. And before it cuts back to the hotel room, you mentioned before with the coffee transition, I love the J cut that they do where he's killing Banjo and he's screaming, and then the sound cuts to what's playing on the TV. I can't quit you, baby, but I can put you down for a while.
Yeah.
Really great cut right there. So I think that's another reason why you get, like, big-time critics praising this movie, too, because there's a little something for their taste buds as well. I'm sure they picked up on, like, little filmmaking tricks like that, and they're like, that was well done.
Yeah.
He's kind of 2 movies in and already upgraded his craft so much.
Yeah. And so...
But there was still a big gap between this and between this and House of a Thousand Corpses, because House of a Thousand Corpses was shot in '99 and then didn't get released until 2003 because of the bullshit with Universal. So he had a lot of time to think this over. And yeah, kind of like what Lacey said before, he had a lot of time just to think about how am I going to make these characters lovable? Because that's exactly what he says behind the scenes.
Yeah, and it's wild that, like, you know, they humanize them and they make you feel for them even after you see Otis doing this horrible shit at the hotel.
Right. The 3-act structure is actually, again, broken up so tightly and good that it's like, again, you see this character evolution. This is them, like you said, still thinking they're in control. So they're still doing fucked up shit. And then the bounty hunters get involved. Some more fucking people end up dying along the way. And then they get their just desserts. That's why I'm actually excited to finally watch 3 from Hell, because I'm wondering if this character development continues, like how different they are now from here to 3 from Hell. Because they go through a lot.
Yeah.
But the girl goes to the bathroom, and I love how immediately, like, she's doing a good job kind of, like, keeping it together. She's trying to stay stoic when she's being told to slap Priscilla Barnes in the face. And the moment the door shuts, she just completely, like, collapses, starts shaking.
Loses her shit.
Trying to have an escape plan.
Starts busting the window open. And damn, baby's like, I knew that bitch would try something. And then, Priscilla Barnes gets the gun. And like a dumbass, I forgot the gun isn't loaded. She's like, yeah, shoot me. Shoot me. Fucking...
Yes.
And she shoots, and yeah, there's no bullets in there. It's all fucking mind power. And she throws the damn... Well, before all that, she throws the damn knife in the damn woman. Wah! Gets her ass. And,
yeah, before she even gets stabbed, like, since she thinks she has the upper hand, she goes, you can come out now. So, and there's enough silence in between, so right as Priscilla Barnes hits the floor, she comes out and Cherry Moon Zombie grabs her.
Yeah, and she runs out of the hotel, straight up. Straight up.
She gets out of the hotel, and again, this is where I was wondering, I'm like, there's nobody else at this motel.
Yeah, she is running, she is screaming. Then she bumps into fucking old Captain Spaulding.
Which I wonder what you're thinking at this point. After you've been through all this fucked up shit, the first person you bump into is a clown.
Yeah, motherfucker still with the goddamn fucking clown paint on. Brings her back in the room, and they sit her down, and now some time goes by, and Otis busts in there with Banjo's face on him, doing the shit he used to do, and with the booga 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 booga, and fucking getting all in that lady's face and shit, and he's like, damn, where the fuck you been? Don't you fucking knock?
And I like how this is the first time we've really seen Otis and Captain Spaulding really interact and talk to each other. Yeah,
we've never seen them on screen together before.
And there is kind of like a Texas Chainsaw Massacre mentality with it, where Spaulding is a psychopath. He does kill people, but when they're like, what are we going to do with this bitch? And he starts wearing the face and putting it on her and doing like, oh, it's the Banjo and Sullivan show. Baby's...
Yeah, see, and Spaulding's trying to keep a cool head, because he even says before Otis shows up, Spaulding says, you know, if he fucks this up, I'm going to fucking kill him.
That's what I'm saying. Spaulding's more like the Drayton Sawyer now, where it's like he's not really taking pleasure in it unless it's necessary now.
Yeah, he's just trying to get the fuck out of there. And
like you can see, he's like rolling his eyes at Otis, but they go through with it. And this is where we now cut to. I'm assuming in between these scenes is where the Dr. Satan thing would have been, or somewhere in the beginning with Mama. So I am kind of glad it hit the cutting room floor, because I don't really see where it would have fit in. Because right here is where we get the Groucho scene.
Yeah, because they say, you know, what do we do with her? He says, leave her for the cleaning maid to fucking find. And so yeah, they leave her ass there. But yeah, so we get Sheriff Wydell and his buddy. Can't remember his buddy's name. And he starts noticing that all the names match Groucho Marx characters. So
they need to get the film critic in. And this is one of the most hilarious scenes in the movie.
Yeah, this fucking...
For those Tarantino aside scenes.
Yeah, like, this is motherfucking, this is just so out there. They get the most annoying ass film buff that they could think of.
Who kind of looks like Mario.
Yeah, got this huge, ridiculous mustache.
Hates Elvis Presley. If you say another derogatory word about Elvis Aaron Presley in my presence again, I will kick the living shit out of you.
Fuck Groucho Marx.
I'll wring your neck.
Yes, he says, yeah, if you weren't a cop, I'd wring your neck.
This guy was me in high school. That is the worst cinematic offense. Elvis fucking Presley came in and stole all the headlines.
Died 3 days before Groucho Marx.
Fuck Groucho. And I love how that's written by Rob Zombie, who's like an avid Groucho Marx fan.
Yeah, who has wanted to do a Groucho Marx movie.
Yeah, he's wanted to make a biopic about him, which I think would, now that he's made the Munsters, that would be really, how do I word this? Like, he's kind of coming out of his style a little bit. He's now, I could do regular movies as well. He should do a Groucho biopic. I think it would be interesting to see.
Yeah, because it very well could be his Ed Wood.
Right. He can still present it, like, in a way that looks like a Groucho movie. And what's it called? I think about when people flip their shit about Bruce Lee in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. I know that this scene with the critic isn't as crazy as, like, oh, we're going to get in a fight scene with Groucho and, like, do something like that. But everyone flipped their shit and said Tarantino disrespected Bruce Lee when, keep in mind, he made Kill Bill, which is, like, clearly a big nod to Bruce Lee and a ton of other martial arts movies. But I kind of see it as the same thing. I'm like, this guy said fuck Groucho and he's a fan. It's like they're clearly just having fun and taking a piss.
Yeah, it's these characters. And then motherfuckers need to realize that Once Upon a Time in Hollywood doesn't take place in the normal Tarantino universe. It is a movie within those movies. Just like Kill Bill. So therefore, that's why Sharon Tate lives at the end of the Manson Massacre. That's why, Bruce Lee gets his ass whooped.
Anything could happen. It's a movie.
Yeah, it's a movie within the movies. Fucking the
Inception.
Yeah, movieception. It's fucking Samuel L. Jackson. What is it? Who does he play in Pulp Fiction?
Oh yeah, Jules.
Yeah, Jules. That's a movie Jules is going to go see.
And he likes it. He said it was a good movie. So if Jules liked it, motherfucker. That's another note that I made in here, speaking of Sam Jackson, that I'm like, between him and Sid Haig, no one says motherfucker better.
Yeah.
Especially near the end where they're all tied up. Come on, give it to me, motherfucker!
Yeah. But yeah, that's a cool scene that it's one of those, it could very well easily be a nothing scene, but it reveals some information, about how they all use names from Groucho Marx characters and stuff. But just the dialogue alone, the film critic just is hilarious. But another great scene right after this, it's the next day at the hotel. And the cleaning lady starts beating on the door, housekeeping, and nobody answers. So she walks in there, she sees it all trash, banjo cases all over the place, and she opens up the bathroom door, and yeah, the bodies are laying there all fucked up and crazy looking, shit written in blood all over the walls, and she opened like
she's just hanging there and reaching out. And you can see her eyes behind the skin. That actually is a really good scare.
Yeah, she has her husband's face on her, and she gets off, and they land on the bed a moment. Then they both run out of the hotel. Cleaning lady goes one way, scared lady goes the other way and is just running and running. Gets out to the road and almost stops a car. And then boom, fucking semi-truck explosion.
They also have the name of the movie fucking sprawled on the name of the wall, on the walls.
Yeah, Devil's Rejects.
So I'm not sure if they're calling themselves. Well, no, because the news calls them the Devil's Rejects. So yeah, that was just their little calling card.
Yeah,
but
now
the way they propped them up in the bathroom too, it's almost like they're calling the dead bodies like, oh, here are the Devil's Rejects.
Yeah, so
they're going straight to hell.
They're accepting the moniker now.
Right. And I think that's really cool too. That it's like you got the Devil's Rejects versus the Bounty Hunters later, who are the Unholy Two. The Unholy Two versus the Three from Hell at WrestleMania.
Yeah. Speaking of which, one of those of the Unholy Two is Diamond Dallas Page.
Right. So it all fits together.
Yeah. So is this where we get the classic? Huh?
I said you got DDP and then you got Danny Trejo.
Yeah. So is this where we get the classic Tutti fucking Fruity scene?
Just looking at the notes. I also have the movie playing. Before that, we actually are introduced to the bounty hunters because they're going over.
Yeah, they're going over the crime scene, and he gives.
The girl all over the fucking road.
Yeah, and they're looking around, and the cleaning lady doesn't speak English, and so Whitedale, who can speak Spanish, talks to her, and I like that they don't throw subtitles down. Because, like, you don't necessarily need to know what they're saying. You already kind of know that he's asking, have you seen these people? Da-da-da-da-da.
Right. And then I always called this movie The Empire Strikes Back of horror movies because it kind of follows a similar plot structure where you have our heroes on the run. It's the darkest chapter of a trilogy. But you even have it down to, like, in the middle, we got the bounty hunter characters now coming after the heroes.
Yeah, the Boba Fetts.
Yeah, dude. Rondo is basically the Boba Fett, where while they're at the crime scene, we see that Whitehall's been talking to him, and that they're gonna get the lead and figure out like where they're headed, where they're hiding.
Diamond Dallas Page is Guido.
Yeah, he's his Chewbacca, his boss. If Chewbacca went to the bad side. But then after this scene is where they do the, this is where I would say the second act officially begins. And I call the second act the family road trip / Wydell's mental downward spiral.
Yeah.
Because this is where the Tutti Frutti scene happens. And fucking Otis doesn't know about Charlie. Again, going back to the fucking Empire Strikes Back comparison, they have to go to a friend who's basically like Lando in Cloud City. It's a place where they think they could lay low, but it actually turns out to be a trap.
Damn, you know what? You're fucking right.
And they mentioned Star Wars earlier in the movie, so I wouldn't be surprised if Rob Zombie was thinking about it maybe a little bit. But I like not only the Tutti Frutti in the road trip part, but there's Otis, who doesn't like Charlie. He's like, I know what I know, and I know I don't like that nutsack.
Yeah, and then she's like, I see ice cream in about 10 miles. And he's like, and I see that. He's like, she's like, don't fucking, what does she say? Don't fucking,
don't mimic me, that's rude.
Yeah, that's what it is. And she instantly does it back with fucking, I know what I know, and I don't like this fucking nutsack.
And again, going back to how I was talking about in House of a Thousand Corpses, you know, Mama treats baby like a baby. She's still kind of like a child, this weird, fucked up child at heart. It's so crazy how Spalding words it like, can't we just stop a moment for the kids?
Yeah, because Spalding wants the ice cream too. And he says, I think I want a Tutti fucking Fruity. She's like, yeah, I want a Tutti fucking Fruity. And they keep on going, and I love this. He's like, there is no fucking ice cream in your foreseeable future. And then the next shot, they have stopped for ice cream.
And then it is a genuinely, they do the classic thing where it's like, here, you should try some. and they get in on his nose, and even fucking Otis smirks a little bit, like he loosens up. But even you see Baby probably at her most calm, where she's like, "Yeah, you shouldn't be such a fucking grouch all the time."
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's the first thing where you really start to. You may not like them, you may not accept what they've been doing, but you smirk a little bit. You're kind of like, okay.
Yeah, we have simply forgot about Otis putting his gun barrel down the pants of a lady.
In like a scene, in like 2 scenes, it like just happened too.
Yeah, it's like, oh right, we like Otis again. He got ice cream on his nose.
He's not all bad. Look at him, he's smiling.
Oh shit. So yeah, now they show up to what is it? Is it Charlie's Pleasure Town?
Well, in between this, we have the nightmare scene with
oh
with
yeah,
Whitehall. That's what's
fucking.
also hard to talk about with Rob Zombie movies is like the editing is fast and the plot does go all over the place. So it's like, yeah, we're trying to follow just like the Firefly, but in between this, Whitehall was taking a little nap, and he has this really chilling scene that almost reminds me of like a Universal horror movie, just done in a really fucked up Rob Zombie way, where George Whitehall, he actually shows back up. It's Tom Tolles, same actor from House of a Thousand Corpses, and he's sitting in this cozy little chair in the basement. He's fresh from the basement, dude. He's House of a Thousand Corpses.
Yeah.
And we see this is the sheriff's mind officially like breaking. Like we see him like trying to stay true. He's like, I'm walking the line, brother. I'm trying to do this by the book. And his spirit, George's spirit, is mocking him for it.
Yeah.
And the echo that they do when he's like, you gotta kill him. Very creepy scene. I really love that moment.
Yeah, you gotta kill them all. I can't rest until you kill them. I can't rest until it's over.
My soul can't be... Yeah, it's almost like fucking American Werewolf in London as well. Like, the curse needs to be lifted now, he feels like. There's a Firefly curse. And the timing is good, too. Like, the editing in this movie is great, where he wakes up and the phone immediately rings. And we got this really good close-up on William Forsythe's face as Danny Trejo's like, they got the connection to Charlie Altamont.
Yeah, like, yeah, we found the guy. He went by this name and went by that name, and now he goes by this name and knows a guy that he calls the captain.
He knew this guy who knew this guy who knew this guy's cousin. But then, great moment where Diamond Dallas Page looks up and he's like, so, is the shit on? The shit is on. High five.
Yeah, dude, they're like, they're another timeline of Bill and Ted.
They should have done the air guitar.
Fuck yeah.
It's the fucking Symptom of the Universe riff. They have something a little harder.
Yeah, they're the Bill and Ted that went to prison.
They are. Dude, they met in prison. It's all connected. Next year, look out for Rob Zombie's Bill and Ted.
Wouldn't that be some wild shit?
You know what? At this point, I'll pay for it. I'd buy that for $1.
Yeah.
But this is where now Sheriff is now like Jason. He just like mindlessly walks to the fucking prison cell. He doesn't care about the law. And he's just like coldly staring at fucking Mama Firefly.
Yeah, goes in there and she's all like, I knew you wanted a piece of this.
In horror movies, you never typically feel like, especially in slasher movies, when the threats are more supernatural, even when like a killer gets killed, you never kind of feel it. You're like, they'll be back. But like here it really hits where it's like, no, she got stabbed, man.
She did. Fuck. He pulls that knife out and blood squirts everywhere. She hits the floor. It is done.
Like, this isn't just Rufus Jr. It's like, this is the matriarch of the Firefly family.
She is the main leader. Dead.
Taken out. And it's also, she's the one that killed George herself. So he gets his... Right there, he could have technically stopped.
He got his main revenge.
But it's not enough for him. So now we start to see him go down the path. So, even again, I argue with people who are like, I still don't really love the Fireflies by the end. You could at least argue that if anyone were to kill them, though, it shouldn't be somebody who's just as sick as them. You know what I mean? Like, he's now no better than the Firefly family.
Yeah, because now he has gone rogue.
Because he's enjoying it too. It's now not like the unfeeling hand of the law. It's like he's out for blood. He's enjoying it. And when he finally gets them, he's like fucking... He's a creep about it.
Yeah.
But then also, again, at the same time, I can't argue because it's like, well, they're creeps about everything, the Firefly family. So no matter what you feel about it, I think this whole creative endeavor on Rob Zombe's part is very fascinating. Like, I'm just glad that this movie exists.
Yeah.
Like, in the annals of horror history, it's like, this is definitely something that needs to be respected and propped up a little bit, where it's like, this was like a really good exploration in terms of like these characters.
Yeah, and you mentioned he comes up in there like Jason. Speaking of Jason, Kane Hodder has a quick cameo in this movie as Gas Mask Officer.
I had no idea.
Yeah, and I'm like, damn, you got Kane Hodder, everybody's favorite Jason, and he is Gas Mask Officer?
Just to have him on, you know, he was there that day. Fucking, you know who should have returned for this movie? Where's the shotgun guy from House of a Thousand Corpses? This is hell!
Yeah.
You don't need to go to hell, this is hell!
Yeah, where's this guy? We need Skunk Ape.
We need Skunk Ape. Maybe when they make 4 from hell.
Yeah.
4 from heaven. But when they first cut to Charlie Altamont's place, there is a big dude with a shotgun who walks out, and he's just a random security guard. But at first, when I was watching this movie, I'm like, is that him? Is that how they tie it in? And it's like, I don't think it's the same actor at all. But I'm like, that would have been so cool if it turns out he was just the security guard at Charlie's.
Yeah.
And I'm like, where does this guy fit into everything? It's like, at least with the Skunk Ape, I could argue that was like a nightmare. I'm like, where does Shotgun Guy fit into this Rob Zombie universe?
Yeah, and that guy actually has more scenes in the deleted scenes. There's actually a lot more with him and that weird looking guy.
Like, in Devil's Rejects or House of a Thousand Corpses?
Devil's Rejects.
Gotcha.
There's a lot more in the deleted scenes. There's a lot more sort of nothing scenes of chilling and talking shit.
Getting to know the place, setting the scene.
Yeah.
But this is where we see Charlie again, and you're right that E.G. Daly has the Leia buns now.
Yeah.
Which is hilarious. She's wearing kind of like a Leia blouse. And fucking, what's it called? I love are you still an asshole? And he gives him the fucking finger.
Yeah. Yeah, he comes out there.
They established that baby is Charlie's niece.
Yeah, so somehow Spalding and Charlie are brothers. And speaking of which, in one of the deleted scenes, when they first roll up, Barry and the shotgun black dude stop them, and he tells them, "Yeah, man, yeah, I'm coming here to see Charlie's brother. Or, you know, Charlie's my brother. Da 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 da. Tell him Cutter's here." So they get on the walkie-talkie, and they're like, "Hey, there's this guy out here saying that he's your brother," and he's like, "I don't see the resemblance." Yeah, so that would have been a decent deleted scene to leave in, because it'd have left you with more Barry. But I can see why they left it out. It's better to just have them roll up in there and Ken Foray come out and shit, fucking with them.
Right, and it's just kind of like a throwaway line, like, "Oh shit, this is my niece."
Yeah.
And there was the line that I mentioned last podcast. I just think it's so odd, but apparently they say this to each other. "No, you standing out here like stone-foot roosters in a fuck farm."
Yeah, dude, like, the fuck does that even mean, man?
Well, they had to have said, because Spalding jumps in on it.
Yeah.
So they had to have done something before where they said that.
And
but,
that's
like,
been like a
that,
thing that they've said together to remember that moment.
Right. So what the fuck was that moment? We'll never know.
Yeah, I would love to know.
if I ever meet Rob Zombie, these are the questions I will ask him. Like, what was that? What was this?
What
Who's the
is
shotgun guy?
a stone-foot rooster in a fuck farm?
He'll just shrug at me. Like,
But
I
yeah,
don't
he
know.
comes out there with a gun and shit, you know, making it look like he's about to fuck with him and all this, but squirts water all in Spaulding's face. Gets him with a classic clown move. Gets the clown with a classic clown move.
Ain't that the best damn water gun you've ever seen? I love this whole section because this is kind of a big throwback to House of a Thousand Corpses because you get the split screens. You get this whole Rocky Mountain Way montage. You get Otis shacking up with E.G. Daily because she's like, "You like what you see?" And he's a dickhead. And he's like, "Well, I set my standards pretty low, so I'm never disappointed."
Yeah.
But she slaps back. She's like, "Oh, well, I never disappoint." And they're like, "Woo!"
Yeah, and a bunch of doing drugs and drinking and
Rocky Mountain Way.
yeah, Rocky Mountain Way playing, and yeah, it has a lot of cool cuts. I'll tell you one thing I do like a lot are the scene transitions where it'll sort of freeze and then slide over to the next scene.
Yeah, dude, that's very 70s. These weird wipe transitions. The one I liked the most was before with Banjo and Sullivan. The one moment of the movie that's not like pure Southern rock is they do the wipe transition and it's fooled around and fell in love.
Yeah.
Oh, look, you like this song? I didn't realize you were one of those like top 20 motherfuckers.
Yeah. Yeah, what, in fact, which scene, I think it's when they're just leaving the hotel and they got the Banjo and Sullivan band, it's playing Steely Dan.
Yeah, they got Steely Dan in there. I like the use of Terry Reid in the soundtrack, especially near the end. He's got some underrated tracks there.
Yeah. And so, yeah, they're all just getting fucked up. And then we cut to probably the big nothing scene. The greatest nothing scene in the whole movie. This is up there with the pussy liquor scene in Corpses where Ken and Barry...
Last time.
Huh?
Because we didn't even talk about that last time, the pussy liquor scene, if I remember.
I thought we did with the, we're going to get fucked up and do fucked up shit.
Maybe, you're right.
I swear we
It's such a throwaway
did.
Scene, though.
Because you can't talk about Corpses without talking about that scene.
Right.
But if we didn't, I'm sorry. But yeah, so this is up there with that where Ken and Barry go to buy some chickens, and he mentions that his brother makes the best fried chicken in the world, going back to Captain Spaulding's monsters of mayhem and fried chicken. And yeah, it's this weird fucking dude. He's like, yeah, we got these Rhode Island Reds. He's like, Rhode Island Reds? Yeah, I'll take two. And he's like, you ain't gonna fuck these chickens, are you?
So yeah, there's really no point of this scene other than they need to run into the sheriff, but god damn it, so this is what I was holding off on. The critic scene is really funny, but this is one of the most hilarious scenes I've ever seen in my fucking life. Just every line, the editing, it's so fucking perfect.
Yeah, you can cut that chicken's head up, put my dick in it, and you make it go, ah! And he's like, wait a minute, you telling me you can cut the head off the chicken, put your dick in it, make it go, ah! He's like, yeah. Jesus Christ.
Your friend looks a little sexually frustrated there. Oh, he's the chicken fucker.
Yeah, yeah.
Fucking boss, we ain't never buying chickens from this guy again. And I fucking love, yeah, he even does the noise back to him. You say I cut a chicken's head off, stick my dick in it, fuck it, and go, ah? It's so awkwardly perfect. So yeah, I'm glad this scene didn't hit the cutting room floor, because all they had to do was like, in any other movie, like the producer would have been like, you can cut that out and just cut to like where they mention the chicken and they get pulled over by the police. But no, we're keeping the whole fucking thing in. The guy looks like he's got a little herpy on his lip now. You guys ain't thinking about fucking these chickens now, are you?
Yeah, that's fucking...
Every line delivery is perfect.
Yeah, that whole probably best scene in the movie. Fucking
Rhode
love it.
Island Red, no shit. Yeah, I'll take that.
Oh, he's like, I'll take two of them. I don't know, and them are some small ass looking chickens too. You might need to get 3 or 4. You got a couple mouths to feed over there.
I do want me some of Spaulding's fried chicken though.
Yeah, I wonder how good it really is.
We've proven now that it is actually chicken. It's not going to be a corpse. You just got to make sure it's Charlie picking it up.
And so, yeah, they bump into old White L. White L tells him, yeah, I found you, motherfucker. You're going to take me to the clown.
Yeah, he has a moment where things are kind of like tense between him and the bounty hunters, where Diamond Dallas Page is like, I'm like King Kong came down, rip him a new asshole.
Oh, yeah, at the little barbecue at the trailer park.
Yeah, that's another kind of like throwaway scene, but it's kind of like the shit's about to go down and tensions are high, and Wydell is pretty much like even losing connection with the people that he's hired, you know.
Yeah, like he's had enough. Like it's a throwaway scene, but it builds more information. For he, like you said, he's kind of just given up on those motherfuckers. He's like, I want these motherfuckers now. I want them for myself. He's like, they can be in whatever condition, just I want them alive.
Right. And Wydell set up a plan, basically, again, like the Lando Calrissian scene where they're going to catch him at Charlie's place. I love the shot of, they start playing the first Terry Reid song in the soundtrack where things are kind of slow, melancholy. They're actually having a chill moment. Baby's talking to the girl. Otis is sleeping with Candy. There's a real psychedelic shot of like Jesus on the cross.
Yeah.
With this really fucking trippy background. And I love the shot of fucking Spaulding just token on that J. It reminds me of, I don't remember who the artist is. I saw it on Facebook a while ago. Somebody had made a painting of Sid Haig just chilling outside, smoking from a bong that's shaped like a piggy bank.
Yeah.
I love that shit. Spaulding chilling out. Dude, Rondo comes in and straight up like kills a woman with no remorse. Like,
yeah, just cuts that lady's throat like it ain't shit.
Like,
but yeah, because Ken Forey gets out of the room. He knows the shit's about to go down at midnight. And he tells Spaulding, he's like, hey, don't do all my cocaine now. And he's like, yeah, man, I love you, man. You're my brother. But I love my cocaine more.
Yeah, they have one final moment before he basically sells them over to the police because Danny Trejo comes in and takes Baby out of the tub. We get wrestling on fucking Diamond Dallas's part because he shoots Candy in the fucking head. I completely forgot that she gets killed off in this movie. Like, straight up.
Tommy Pickles dead.
In a slow motion shot, like straight out of House of a Thousand Corpses, Diamond Dallas Page slugs fucking Otis out the window.
Yeah. Oh, we're having an old-fashioned barn burner right here.
Yeah, as it fucking, by God, King, by God.
It'll be a big old slobber knocker.
Tonight on Raw.
Puppies! Puppies! Oh my God! JR, puppies!
Oh my God! I can't even sit in my seat.
Oh my God! Got Candy in the head with a bullet.
Oh, it's Kane. By God, it's Kane. But yeah, I like how when Rob Zombie does slow motion, it's definitely a trend in the 2000s, but it does like that cutting frames trick where it's kind of like, not glitchy, but you kind of get what I'm saying, right?
Yeah, it's like slow motion, but it's also like freeze frame cuts.
Yes, it's almost like you're fast forwarding on a VCR or something.
Yeah.
When the fast forward just isn't working good, but fucking Wydell walks in on Spaulding smoking that J, and they have like another kind of Western stare down moment where he thinks it's Charlie, so he's got his guard down. He's like, Charlie, I love you, brother, but then he sees who it is, and he immediately like stiffens back up and takes another toke off of it, like, all right, you ain't shit.
Yeah. Yeah, he's like, you gonna kill me.
All the way dead.
You gonna have 2 shots. I'm gonna shoot your damn dick to the ground. So yeah, would you say this is the beginning of Act 3?
Yes, so Act 3 is what I like to call Wydell's revenge and the great Firefly escape.
Yeah, so he brings them all back to where it all started.
It is a pretty sick method of torment that he's going to take the pictures of all the people that he murdered and he fucking staples them. He uses the nail gun and staples them to him.
Yeah, he's got him tied to the chair, and fucking he staples. He shows Mama Firefly the baby, dead ass Mama Firefly.
Yeah, dude, and that starts to really fuck with her. And again, this is just where the sheriff. You could argue whether he's going too far or not, but again, it's like he is just as crazy for them. It's not even about the law anymore. And I like how Baby thinks she's hot shit. She's like, oh yeah, like, he's stapling, like, who killed this one? Who wants it? And she's like, oh yeah, that was me. I did it.
And that was Mary from the first movie.
Yeah, and fucking, what's it called? Spaulding's trying to look out for his daughter. She's like, baby, shut the fuck up.
He's like, I did that one.
Come and get it, motherfucker. He's basically crucifying them with their victims.
Yeah, he just starts hammering nails in Otis's fucking damn hands.
He's drinking. He's fucking, one of the creepiest things is, like, when it comes close to, where it's time for Baby to run, he's, like, mimicking, like, wind blowing in her ear. He's, like, behind her, like...
Yeah.
Fucking creepy. He's going kind of like a mixture between Jack Torrance and Annie Wilkes.
Yeah, and then he goes ahead and lets her go because he wants to have a nice little chase, and then he sets the place on fire, and
it's a parallel of the Run Rabbit scene from House of a Thousand Corpses.
Yeah, even down to calling her. He's like, yeah, you smell that? Smells like a rabbit.
It's like a mix between The Shining and House of a Thousand Corpses, because he's got the axe, but they even did, like, the same lighting as House of a Thousand Corpses, like the dark blue, because it's the same exact field. They're just in where the cattle is.
Yeah, and then speaking of another Shining bit, he's chasing her through a maze like, cattle pen, sort of like the maze bushes in The Shining.
Yeah, and then he kills Charlie Altamont, kind of like, what's it called? Scatman Crothers gets the axe to the chest.
Yeah. Weird.
And it's not like Texas Chainsaw 3. Like, Ken Foree got killed in that movie, and then because test audiences liked him so much, they just brought him back at the end. It's me! I'm alive! Rob Zombie doesn't play that shit. They're like, Charlie's dead. And it's fucking brutal when he gets caught, because Baby doesn't even want to trust him at first. She's like, you fucked everything up. He's like, just listen to me. Just get in the car.
Yeah, he's having second thoughts and he wants to make shit right just a little too late.
Yeah, dude, and he gets chopped up, and the music here is great. The sound effects are really fucking squishy and brutal.
And
the squid there is real. You could tell that was a real blood squib.
Yeah, and then he gets her in the car. And that's when Whiteout catches him with the axe and shit. And he gets Baby out of the car, starts choking her. And then here comes the triumphant return of Tiny.
Wearing a bag over his head, and it is the most satisfying neck break, because it's doing the cutting frames thing. He's strangling her. We're at what I was saying the last time in the House of a Thousand Corpses review, where it's like we're at the chaotic, nightmarish climax, where all reality is just kind of out the window. We're kind of working on dream logic. The shots are crazy, like there's zooms, the camera's shooting all over the place. But I love how the slow-mo speeds up, and then he just fucking snaps his neck and, like, just ungracefully slams him to the floor. Like, it's almost funny how fast he hits the floor.
Yeah, Tiny kills the shit out of him, and she's like, Otis and Daddy are in the house. And so Tiny goes in there and sets them loose. And man, Tiny fucking pulls them damn 9-inch nails out of them chairs with fucking ease.
The 9-inch nails. Fucking...
big ass railroad spikes.
Right. I like how it's Tiny to the rescue, and then there's that line. He gets them in the car, and Otis is like, you sure about this? This is another thing I would ask Rob Zombie about, and I know he probably just wouldn't have an answer to it, where it's like, what is this unseen Tiny subplot? He walks back into the fucking burning building, which, by the way, keep in mind, Tiny is the burn victim of the family, so it is kind of like sadly triumphant. He's facing his fears.
Yeah.
He's going into the flames. But we don't really see what he goes back for. We're not sure if he dies. I know in 3 from Hell, Sherry Moon Zombie has a tattoo that says "Rip Tiny," so we could assume he died. But what was it that he was doing this whole movie?
Yeah,
I almost don't want it to be answered, but at the same time, anybody listening to this podcast, that's something I want to hear your guys' takes on. What was Tiny doing this whole time, and what was he going back into the house for?
I think he was going back into the house to die. I think he knew it was over. The house is on fire. He has nowhere to go. There's nobody to take care of him. How's he going to get any kind of food? How's he going to live on his own? I think he was literally just going to die.
All right, so there's your theory, is that he was going in there just to accept his fate, which again still makes walking into the flames such a powerful visual, especially seeing as this is Matthew McGrory, the guy who plays Tiny. This was his final film.
Yeah.
There's a dedication to him at the end. I always remember him from Big Fish.
Yeah, the giant on Big Fish.
But he's also in HBO's Carnival. He's in a ton of shit.
Carnival was great, man.
Yeah, it was.
Too bad that shit only lasted 2 fucking seasons. HBO, a lot of networks did not know what to do with their great fucking shows.
Dude, the world building in that show is crazy good, and
yeah, and old dude is the crazy preacher.
What was that?
The dude is the crazy preacher. I can never remember his name, but he's one of those great character actors. He was in...
Clancy Brown.
Yeah.
It's probably one of my favorite performances from him. There's such haunting visuals in that. Adrian Barbeau's in that fucking show. That show's awesome.
Yeah.
But my theory, I don't really know what Tiny was doing, but I feel like it has to have something to do with Earl, because we also never saw Earl Firefly again. Because you could either say he died at the end of House of a Thousand Corpses or what, but I don't know.
Just left in the mine. And you don't know about Grandpa, but you could assume he was so old and fucked up that he probably died in the 5 months in between.
Yeah, maybe this is where Dr. Satan comes into play. Who knows? But it's probably more than likely what you were saying, that he's just going in there. I'm gonna die in this home.
Yeah, it's the only thing he knows. And all of his caregivers are gone.
Yeah, and it explodes immediately after. You have the cool guys don't look at explosions.
Which is so obvious. Does there really need to be an explosion?
Maybe that's him going down to hell. Maybe he opened a portal.
Yeah, cartoon Dr. Satan is hanging out there.
Right. And then this is where we get the iconic ending, with these fucking swooping helicopter shots of the road, which I love.
Yeah. They're just driving slow motion, all fucked up. Freebirds playing.
It definitely goes on too long. It's definitely a little gratuitous. They had to slow down the slow motion a lot just to get the whole scene to fit most of Freebird. But again, I've said it before. It's listen, we spent the money on this song. By God, we're going to play it.
Yeah, we're going to fucking use it. Damn, it just goes, and it goes, and...
They used the home footage thing that they used in House of a Thousand Corpses, and that they'll later use in Halloween, where it's cutting to home-style footage of them having a good time.
Yeah.
Liking each other.
Yeah, Spalding and Baby and Otis just having fun on a normal day at the park for the Firefly family.
Yeah, it almost would have been corny, but it's there has to be... I'm surprised there's no corpse in the background during any of that home footage.
Yeah, it's the only good homemade footage that they have.
It accidentally cuts to "Run, Rabbit." It's wait, that was the wrong day.
With fucking Donald Duck and Mickey Mouse on the other. And they're driving, but they're asleep, and Otis stops the car, sees the Cobb blockade. And they're sitting there, and he's waking them up, and they're all handing each other the guns, and they floor it right when the damn song starts to jam out. They floor it, and they start shooting, and they start getting shot up. And
they go out guns blazing, and I love that final shot that we fade out on of Sid Haig being blown back. it's blurry, and it's kind of like almost like an album cover of its own right as it fades out. It's very much exploitation glory.
Yeah, they stop it, like they stop it and you just hear some heartbeats and then boom, gunshots, shitloads of gunshots, and then the movie's over.
I love like when they're at the fucking roadblock, like fucking Otis does this little like he tilts his head up like fuck.
Like, damn it, what do we do now? It's like, well,
like that acceptance of like there is no way out of this.
y'all could have just turned around.
Don't have GPSs yet.
Yeah.
Found a different way. But yeah, then it fades out, and then we get more just like helicopter shots. I love this for the end credits. Like sometimes I go back and just watch the end credits because it's weirdly relaxing, kind of eerie. Like this is what I meant in my Facebook post, that this movie just has like a weird emotional effect over me. Because it is all these ups and downs. It's horrifying, it's funny, it's dramatic, but it's all wound together so nice and tight. And then you have Seed of Memory by Terry Reid playing, which is such a great underrated track. I really love this end credit just sequence of watching the road fly by, because if we didn't get Three from Hell, you can almost assume like that's their spirits, like they died. They're still going down that road. They went past the cops.
Yeah, it's a cool little. It looks like a car commercial, like an older car commercial.
I could see that too if you just change the music and take out the credits.
New Honda Civic CS, did a power drive. But yeah, so that is the movie.
That's it. And, I would call this one a 10 out of 10. I like most of this movie. Like, I didn't really even have a lot of nitpicks. I'm sure, like, you can find nitpicks, but I liked in this review that, number one, you gave me a lot of stuff from the behind-the-scenes and commentaries that I didn't know about. I've seen a little behind-the-scenes stuff, but I've never actually watched these movies with the commentaries on, so you get a lot of cool tidbits from those. And I do find it cool, because we were also talking about the criticism that Rob Zombie gets with using Sherry Moon Zombie for everything.
Right, but her acting in this movie is great.
Not only that, but not only that, I also argued that it's part of their relationship. It's just like part of their love language. It's just a really good relationship they have through these creative outlets. So I appreciate that. But then also something that kind of drives a nail into that argument is like if he was really exploitative like over his wife and that she was like wouldn't he be doing the commentary with her? I like that it's like you got the cast commentary. She's part of the cast.
Yeah.
And you got the director commentary. You
yeah,
know what I mean?
I thought it was weird. I thought it was weird that the cast was by themselves and he was by himself. But yeah, you're right. Like, it makes more sense for the director to sit because it's. I like the fact that they have a cast commentary and a director commentary because if it was all of them together, there would be too much shit for them to talk about.
Right. And then also, it's like Rob probably has a lot of stories that's like when you're by yourself, you could just think about the production. And commentaries are actually recorded. It depends, but sometimes they're recorded pretty quickly after the movie's made, so it's still fresh in your mind. But yeah, with the cast commentaries, you're able just to have a little bit more fun. There's still trivia in there, but they're kind of just like clowning around, just talking about their experience. One of the best commentaries that breaks that, what we're talking about, is the Evil Dead 2 commentary. Because Bruce Campbell was such a part of the production, like not just an actor, like seeing them all fucking clown around with each other is great. I've watched that commentary several times with Rob Tapper, Sam Raimi, and Bruce Campbell. Really good stuff. But I do prefer that. Yeah, keep the cast one separate. They do it with Clerks, too. Clerks has a lot of different commentary tracks where it's just Kevin by himself. Then there's just the cast. There's Jason Mewes, Brian O'Halloran, and fucking them all together. You have a different flavor of commentary for everything.
Yeah.
It's a little side tangent there because we're pretty much wrapped up here. And again, it goes without saying, I love this movie. I think it's a masterpiece in horror. I think it was, as I keep saying, a really good experiment in character development, because you still kind of walk away with something to talk about. Did you root for the Firefly family, or at least feel for them a little bit? Did you not? Were you on Sheriff Weidell's side even to the end? There's some people, I think in James Rolfe's review, there's some people who are like, I was with Weidell all the way up until the end when he started doing the torturing. But I've heard takes where some people are like, no, I thought he was the hero the whole time. So you get like these crazy takes where it's like, all right, I like when movies could open up like cool discussion like that in a unique way.
Yeah, to me, the movie's a 10. It's a 10 out of 10, and out of the whole trilogy, I like them all about the same. But I still think Corpses is my favorite, just because of how batshit it is. But this, for being so different than Corpses, I think that's a reason I like this one a lot too. It's a great fucking killer on the run movie, and I never thought about the similarities to Empire Strikes Back until you started pointing them out. It's pretty crazy, but I'll tell you though, Three from Hell damn sure is not Return of the Jedi.
No. And I can't wait to see it, to see how it defies that. But that was basically like, a movie that was planned out for a long time and then had to make some major rewrites.
Yeah. But it's a good thing it happened later because, we had to wait for Rob Zombie to start using Richard Brake a lot, because Richard Brake is a massive standout performance on Three from Hell.
Yeah, and honestly, now that we're going into the Halloween movies, we start to see that collaboration start. Because wasn't Richard Brake also the cow?
Yeah, yeah. So
it's fucked a million times.
Yeah, so now is coming up is Halloween.
The first one, the first remake in this odd timeline of Halloween movies.
God. And see, the Halloween movies should be... Thankfully, these two Halloween movies, we don't have to talk about the other Halloween movies to talk about these two.
Right, that's what I'm saying. These are zombie-verse.
Yeah.
These are their own thing.
Because, the Halloween series is a retrospective all in its own. And, God, imagine the moment we start talking about those movies, dude. It's gonna be complaint after complaint.
We should definitely do it in the future, though. But that's a long, long retrospective. That's if we plan it out right. That won't take a couple of years. Yeah,
that would be that. I don't know. I can't even tell you how many movies are in that series now. But that whole fucking series is a mess. Nobody knows what the fuck to do with it anymore. Huh?
Nope. I said it was a beautiful mess, but yeah, I agree with you. They have no idea what to do with it, and it's pretty much done now. I don't think we're going to see a new one for a long time.
They got the rights to the TV series.
Which, if they had balls, they would make the TV series an anthology like Halloween 3 wanted to
right.
be. It has to be like anything happens on Halloween.
Right. Or maybe do a seasonal anthology like American Horror Story, because you could do one season that's Michael Myers, then do another season that's something else.
Right. Do an annual Michael episode, maybe, if you want. Like every time on Halloween, like this is Michael's return.
Yeah, right. Make it a anthology, and then each episode that falls close to Halloween, let it be a Michael Myers story.
Another Michael adventure for the kiddies. But anyway, that wraps up Devil's Rejects. Next episode is Halloween.
Yeah. And if you're good for next Sunday...
I should be. I'll have to keep you updated. I kind of feel like I have something lined up, but that will be to be determined.
Yeah, so let me know, because I should be good too.
I'm hoping so, because then we could actually just have it come out like damn near on Halloween.
Yeah, because on Saturday night we have a Halloween party to go to.
Gotcha.
But, other
yeah,
than
that's
that,
the thing. I have some Halloween shit lined up, so I will definitely get my calendar straight and keep you in the know.
hell yeah.
Hells yeah.
But alright, y'all. Let us know what you think.
Definitely. Keep in mind my theory with Tiny. I want to know what you guys think on that. Want to see what your brains cook up.
Alright, so we'll see you guys on the next episode of Fresh from the Basement.
See ya.
Later.